Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 3 of the Canadian F1200 eSports Championship. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth tonight is going to be the one and only Mr. Richard Swindells. It's going to be a absolute belter this time with the Canadian F1200 Championship heading over to Laguna, Seca. And I've got to say, Richard, this is definitely a really good track for the Formula Vee. Certainly one that I would definitely enjoy, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your thoughts here for Laguna Seca?
Well, Laguna Seca is one of the premier tracks in North America for motorsports, and it's not an overly long track, so I think the V is well suited here. I think we're going to see a lot of good action tonight. We've got a lot of fast drivers, and the combination of technical sections and high-speed cornering is going to make for some great racing, Zippy.
Oh, absolutely. And certainly, you know, the biggest thing I always say about the Formula Vee, having run them a little bit myself, is you've got to keep in mind the draft. Certainly, I mean, these cars, definitely not the most highest power. They've got the Volkswagen Beetle engine in them, in effect, which makes them incredibly simple to maintain, very affordable. And as race cars goes, the bang for buck is pretty much up there, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, Eugene can tell us a bit more about that, as could Fortulo, actually, driving the number 90 machine. But let's take a very quick look here at the schedule and see where we've been and where we're going to be going next round. So as you can see here, we started at Lime Rock Park before heading over to Summit Point Raceway, and round 3 of 4 takes us to Laguna Seca, with the climax being on March 28th for Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Certainly a very fun, very Canadian track. Certainly actually one of the few Canadian tracks in the iRacing service. But ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick look here at the championship points in just a second. And it's turned out to be quite a battle. Certainly we saw before Brandon Hawkin absolutely dominating. Certainly it's not gone my way this time round, and you can see there Charles-Etienne Boucher top of the leaderboard with 548 points. Fortulo, a real-life Formula Vee driver over in the UK, had the pleasure of watching him in action, certainly at Brands Hatch, and it's fair to say he got absolutely drenched that day. He's there in second place with Stuart Ross in third. What an absolutely fantastic battle so far. Still definitely a lot of points on the line with 3 races a season, around, sorry. You know, there's still very much a lot to play for as we have a look further down the standings. You know, quite a good field so far. You know, remember, ladies and gentlemen, the real world prize for this is you do get to have a testing session in a real Formula Vee. So an absolute belter of an opportunity.
Yeah, and of interest to note here, Zippy, I don't see Stuart Ross, who's sitting third in the championship presently. I don't see him out on the track, so I don't know if he's going to make it tonight. And as for Brandon Hawkin, who had a great first week, I don't see him here either. So their championship hopes are certainly going away quickly right now. As for Fortulo, he had a disastrous round last time out, and yeah, a few incidents that were not necessarily his fault. And here's hoping he can bounce back and give a little competition to Charles-Etienne Boucher, who's been pretty much the cream of the crop the first 2 rounds so far.
Well, as you can see here, we are on board with the man himself. This is Fortulo, ladies and gentlemen, and you can see a absolutely fantastic guided lap, albeit he's yet to set a time here in qualifying. But you can see there's a car ahead of him who is going to be absolutely rampant to try and keep this slipstream off. And, oh, okay, we got a message from Daniel Blanco. We'll get to that in just a second there. Actually, Daniel, feel free to come on into the booth. We'll chat with you in a few short moments, by all means. But you can see here, Fortulo absolutely using everything he can out of that Formula Vee, really cutting the curb nicely, making sure he stays in that draft. And certainly he's going to want to carry as much momentum, ladies and gentlemen, as he possibly can. This one here, again, right on the curb. You can see he's gaining rapidly there, using all of the track, all of the runoff, as he's now heading up the hill with one of the world-famous corners in the, well, certainly at this track, but certainly in the world. He's heading towards the corkscrew.
Yeah, the corkscrew is definitely one of the harder sections to get right. It's a make it or break it corner on this track. Let's see how Thor handles it. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. It's just a matter of can he get through cleanly without losing much time behind the car ahead of him here. Nice lines going through there. He's holding onto the draft, but I think Thor really wants to get by, and very kind. Oh, he's getting squeezed, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time.
Definitely not what he was looking for on a hot lap, ladies and gentlemen. That may indeed have hurt his time. Currently, we're seeing a couple of times coming on the board. Fortulo yet to put one in. Certainly, he'd be a guy I'd be putting my money on. But saying that, Charles-Etienne Boucher absolutely dominating in the championship right now. Certainly, as Richard was saying, Fortulo having a very harsh bit of luck, but right now he's crossed the line, and that's put him P2, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's a good lap in spite of that close exit on the corkscrew. George Griffith is sitting in P1, and George and Charles-Etienne Boucher were the times to beat going into practice just before this qualifying session. So, be interesting to see what happens here.
Well, certainly there still is a bit to play for with George Griffiths pulling off there. Fortulo, he is yet again back in the stream, trying to work out who that is just ahead of him. Maybe we'll just borrow it off this box a second here. I think that's Chuck Carvalho ahead of him in the 151 car, so he's going to try everything he can to really capitalize on that pace. But sitting right behind him, looks like Ethan Orr has got a very similar tactic in mind. You see there Carvalho taking a little bit of a scenic route, of course, but right now Ethan Orr in a 76 machine really able to capitalize on that draft.
Yeah, Ethan Orr's having a good run, and while we were watching that, Charles-Etienne Boucher put it on provisional pole. He went almost half a second quicker, it looks like, than second place. Or sorry, at least 1/10 quicker anyways.
Well, you can see there, the draft has giveth and the draft half taketh away. And you can almost feel like Ethan Orr in a 76 machine is almost getting a little bit bottlenecked at this point by the number 90 car of Fortulo. And certainly, you know what, he'd be incredibly fast if that was the case. You can see there Tulo pulling away to the side, and certainly he's going to be looking to try and catch the slipstream on the next time ride. Certainly, he's currently sat in P3. Etienne Boucher has put it on the pole, at least for now. George Griffiths in second. Now, I do expect Tulo to make an improvement next lap. Let's see where Ethan Orr, and yep, that's exactly what he wanted to do. Ethan Orr has pushed himself into P1.
Yeah, great job by Ethan, and let's see, looks like he got a little help there from Thor. Let's see if Thor gets a little help from Ethan this lap. It's the name of the game. The only way to get yourself up on the top positions here is to work together. Nobody's going to get pole position working alone, I don't think, tonight.
Certainly, that is definitely the case with Formula Vee. It's not one of them cars where you can just get out ahead and run away with it. Don't get wrong, if you get out ahead, break the draft, you can certainly do some damage, but if the people behind you choose to work together, then that's pretty much it. And that's exactly what's happening right now between Ethan Orr and Fortulo. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sure if this is intentional, but certainly they're both mutually benefiting from the scenario of having each other out on the racetrack. And certainly, you know what, that's exactly what they need to do. If we have a look through some other drivers right now, Michael Lentis, he's got a gentleman behind him. Let's have a quick peek, see who's benefiting from the draft right now. And that is going to be Wright, I believe. Rob Wright, I think, is absolutely capitalizing. Yep, there you go. Rob Wright there. He's getting the draft right now. quite the display picture there from Mr. Rob Wright there in the number 45 machine. Certainly not really in it for the championship right now, but definitely out there and racing smart in the qualifying stages.
Yeah, you want to put a decent lap together. You know, the further up you are, the easier it is to make advances. The races aren't that long. We're only talking 12-lap races, so starting at the back is going to put you way behind.
Absolutely, and certainly it is one of those. So where the draft is so potent, you've almost got to weigh up, is it worth starting in the back? Don't get me wrong, if you're ahead of the pack, it's always beneficial, but certainly if you can stay with the lead cars, it could certainly work out in your favor. The problem you've got is if the pack splits, then it won't be long and you're literally going to be completely defenseless unless you have the cooperation from the people around you with a unified goal.
Yeah, everybody's out here, they're doing their best. We're trying to set good qualifying times. Realistically, let's see here what we got going on with Charles-Etienne Boucher. Let's see how he comes across on this lap.
Well, he was resting in P2, and ladies and gentlemen, he has absolutely gone and snaked the pole away from Ethan Orr, not just by a little bit, by almost 0.6 of a second here, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely cracking lap. You can see him there pulling off. That is exactly what he's going to be looking for. I've got to say, Ethan Orr doing an incredible job to get onto P2. Fortulo, honestly, the one who I would be betting on at this point. He's currently in P4. I'm honestly expecting a bit more, and you can see him right up the tail there of Ethan Orr, absolutely using every little bit of draft he can to try and slingshot himself up to the top of the podium as Ethan Orr has cut the corkscrew, and Fortulo is going to absolutely snake on by. Is this going to hurt him? Certainly, as soon as you're out of that draft, you will literally feel, and yep, I'd better say I think that was an off track.
Yeah, off track. This lap's not going to count, and to be honest, yeah, Thor needed that from Ethan. He needed him to get out of the way because he was closing too quick. He was going to have to let off anyways, but missing that corner is, he gave up that opportunity to improve his position.
Well, I've got to say a huge shout out to Rob Campbell in the taking a little peek in the chat there. He's just keeping an eye on the audio for us, so huge thanks there to Rob, certainly a fellow producer, commentator, and I guess a character here on Pit Road Productions. Certainly somebody who both myself and Richard are familiar with. Huge appreciation for that. And anybody of you guys tuning in at home, by all means, share this video, get it out into the world. And certainly one thing we do like to do is actually interview some people. If you're there cheering the driver on, by all means, potentially we could bring you in for an interview. We want to hear from you, hear from your experiences, and certainly adds a little bit of extra fun to the show.
Yeah, Rob's a good guy. I've known him for a long time and been in the booth with him in other leagues and other sessions. So he's always welcome for a little bit anyways. Otherwise, he might steal my job, Zippy. Here we go. We've got Ethan Orr coming down the straightaway. He's 10 months, just under 10 months early with his Christmas colors, and still looking great as always. Thor Tulo in behind him, but Thor is not making any advances really. Thor's sitting in fourth still.
Well, certainly, I do expect him to do a little bit more, but right now, if I have a look a little bit further back the grid, it tells me that these guys are literally matched. Let's have a look here. So P6 and P5, I believe. Yeah, okay, so there you go. You can see 1.269 and 1.272. So let me think, 3 thousandths of a second in it between Javier Martin and Ian Pagadala, ladies and gentlemen. And I got a feeling I'm absolutely butchering that name again. Richard, would you please correct me here on the number 13 car?
Well, it's Xavier, but without pronouncing the R, so I'm not really sure how you do it then. So, but Mr. Martin, he's poked himself a little bit ahead of Ariane. So let's see where they end up right now. My timing only goes to the hundredths, and 3 1,000ths is that's pretty incredible.
Incredibly close battle, and certainly it looks like there may have been a little bit of movement in that. No, not quite. Still incredibly close. And as we're having a look here, I do see Etienne Boucher. He's just gone purple, ladies and gentlemen. Purple in Sector 1.
Yeah, Etienne's gone purple in Sector 1. I don't think it's really going to matter at this stage. He's half a second ahead of the next second place guy, who is now Thor Tulo, actually. Thor has finally got a good lap together. He's moved himself up to second from fourth. Good to see for Thor.
Oh, you can see there, full two-load, absolutely delivering the real-world experience, perhaps paying off. But right now, Etienne Boucher is the person to beat. He's gone pink in Sector 1, orange in Sector 2, and not only that, he's getting a beautiful draft, not just off Ethan Orr, but a full two-load as well. Certainly, it is the top three, all in procession at this point as they're heading down through the corkscrew. Less than a minute left of qualifying to go. It's going to be incredibly close. If they're going to put a lap in, now's going to be the time to do it. He's gone green in Sector 3. Can he keep it going and maintain the pole? Certainly Ethan Orr, somebody to keep an eye on. He's getting that draft there off the number 90 car for Tulo. And I do believe Tulo is going to have a very hard time improving. We're going to see as these guys come across the line. You see they're very, very wide there on the final corner. Definitely being able to get away with a good portion of that runoff. Really using all of the track limits. As the times are coming in, they cross the line. Let's see exactly how this shakes up the order.
And it looks like it didn't do anything, to be honest with you, Zippy. It looks like everybody's holding positions. Charles-Etienne Boucher had his best lap, but when you're first, you're first. Thor's still second, Ethan third, George Griffiths fourth. And it looks like we've done qualifying, and it's over now, Zippy.
It is indeed, sir, and certainly an incredibly close qualifying indeed. But let's have a quick look to see exactly how the starting grid is going to work out. So, ladies and gentlemen, incredibly close. And you can see here, Charles-Etienne Boucher is going to take P1. Actually, quite a good gap for a Formula Vee there with Paul Tulo in P2. But, oh my gosh, if I'm understanding this correctly, 1,000th of a second in it, ladies and gentlemen, between Fortulo and Ethan Orr. Absolutely just bit at the line. Incredible closeness there for the lead battle. George Griffiths is going to start in fourth with Xavier Martin in fifth, Arlen Pagadala in sixth, Richard Zelaya in seventh with Michael Lenders in eighth. Rob Wright takes ninth with Dennis Barkhouse in 10th. And then for 11th, we've got Chris Marion, Chuck Carvalho in 12th, and Eugene Cartini, F1200 Series Admin, in 13th.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Eugene takes the starting grid. He didn't set a time in qualifying or practice, as far as I could see. Eugene, the series organizer, we like to see him out. We really appreciate what he does for the sport, both real world and for the sim world. And here's hoping. It doesn't look like I see him, but here's hoping he makes one of the events or one of the races tonight.
Oh, certainly so, and it's definitely it's a shame to see Brandon Hawkin isn't here today. But we did get information from Daniel Blanco saying he's currently potentially in Atlanta, tied up with Racing Prodigy, so doing some real world racing activities, and certainly somebody who we saw absolutely dominate here in the Canadian F1200 eSports Championship. So certainly good luck to him there. Basically auditioning from a bigger drive, and thank you Daniel Blanco for being there in the chat. He's currently working and watching. Okay, well, I'm not his manager, but I'm going to say the working part may be questionable at this point. And maybe at Motorsport, if his evening lines up. Now, that's much more my kind of speed.
Well, work means different things to different people, Zippy. And, to me, this is work, but it's really a lot more fun than it is work.
Well, you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, they are getting that pace lap underway. It's certainly going to be a lot of fun here, and that's definitely the shorter pace lap. And these guys are definitely going to want to get bunched up. Definitely a smaller grid today, just 13 in it, but certainly a lot to play for at the top of the field. We saw how close it was. Etienne Boucher wants to retain onto that pole, but Paul Tulo and George Griffiths and Ethan Orr very much all in contention at this point.
Yeah, they just had one corner to warm up the tires, and they're getting ready to go. And away we go, Zippy. We go, and it looks like they're trying to go 4 wide here. Better heads prevail. Now we're back to 3 wide, going down to the first corner. This is going to be critical to get a good start and not cause any incidents. Get away clean here.
Well, right now you can see that's Ethan Orr on the inside. Etienne Boucher is in second with Fortulo in third. George Griffiths lining up in fourth. And we're going to bring, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, have the timing tower. You can see a couple of people kicking a little bit of dust there in the sand in the background. But right now, George Griffiths currently resting in fourth. Ethan Orr take the lead. He's actually currently the hard charger, up 2 positions, getting maybe a little bit of a nudge there from Etienne Boucher, who's currently resting in second. I just heard a little bit of a crash, and I believe Eugene Cartini. Yep, definitely not the outlook he was looking for, but certainly, he's free to drive that F1200 whenever he pleases, as it's his car on the line.
Yeah, there are advantages to owning the car that you're giving away as the prize. So, I guess the test in the car. Here we come up through the kink, going in the uphill section, going up towards the corkscrew. This is where it's going to get really interesting. Charles-Etienne Boucher getting a great run up the left-hand side. We got Thor Tulo in there. George Griffiths hanging tight in third, and it looks like Charles Boucher has got held on. Thor Tulo holding second.
Well, I think Ethan Orr may have got shuffled back a little bit. He was leading, and now he's been pushed back into fourth. But don't get me wrong, we're only on the first lap of this race. You can see there, Ian Pagadala holding on to the back, as is Xavier Martin. Certainly, these guys pulled away a 5-way gap of about 2 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. You see there, somebody taking to the grass a little bit there. I believe that may have been Chris Marion. No, Dennis Barkhouse. Really, lots of sand kicked up there. What have we got going on? It's a 3-wide scenario, back for 8th and 9th position.
Yeah, that's the fabulous thing about the V's. Everybody's got a chance. Good close racing. We got 3 wide. They've split it up now. They're going 2 by 2, going out into the Andretti curve. Everybody's looking clean so far, and that's good to see. The only incident we've seen so far is Eugene having that little spin early on. Otherwise, we still got 12 cars without incidents.
Well, certainly it does appear that we got 2 packs having a battle right now, and leading the charge is Charles-Etienne Boucher with Fortulo in second, and George Griffiths riding there in third with Ethan Orr very much in hot pursuit with Ian Pagadala as well. It looks like Xavier Martin almost losing the draft right there. He's that gap has opened up to 1 second. He's going to have to be very, very careful, because if he loses that drop, he is very much going to struggle to stay with the pack. These guys are battling out even further. You can see there, Dennis Barkhouse and Michael Lenters going side by side. Lots of space being left, but we're going to focus back on this lead pack, because I've got a feeling it's going to be spicy as Fortulo's looking to make a move as they head towards the corkscrew.
Yeah, Thor's not afraid to stick his nose in, and here he does. He's got his nose in up on Charles-Etienne Boucher. Let's see what happens here, whether he gives him the position, and it looks like, yes, he's held on. Wow, we've got Ethan Orr sliding over a little bit over there in the Christmas car. Everybody's going through. We're going to battle through for another lap, Zippy.
Certainly, and these guys are incredibly talented at wielding this car. Certainly, Fortulo. Don't get me wrong, I'm a little bit of a fan, don't get me wrong, but certainly I recognise and I have raced with him previously and know just how talented he is behind the wheel of one of these. George Griffith, certainly, pretty sure we saw him in the BIS Radical Canada Cup on Wednesday, Richard, and we did, didn't we?
Well, I've been racing with him for a couple of seasons now, so yeah, I'm well aware of George, and yeah, I raced against him Wednesday night, and George is a very strong racer. He's not doing so well in... Whoa, nice. That was tight.
Ooh.
Whoa, got a little bit loose going in through corner one. Thor takes advantage of that and comes out with the lead after that.
Well, it looked like Etienne Boucher was doing a little bit of a style points there, and we do have matching liveries there on himself and Griffiths. Certainly, I do wonder if George Griffiths has kind of teamed up, and I believe that's lap traffic, yep, of Eugene Cartini, doing the very smart thing again, absolutely out the way right now as Fortulo is leading the charge, but for how long? George Griffiths and potentially teammate Charles Etienne Boucher looking to make a run on the outside as they're free wide, ladies and gentlemen, free wide, almost very briefly there. Certainly, the camera angle can be very deceiving in a wide line there by Ian Pagadala, but we're going to ride on board. You can see there, they're going to go and try and go free wide. I thought they were going to try it. Certainly, definitely choosing the safer option. Certainly wise course of action there as they're heading up the hill towards Corkscrew.
Yeah, 2 wide doesn't really work through the kink. 3 wide certainly isn't going to. Let's see what happens, how Arian does so. And then we got Ethan Orr getting by as we enter in the Corkscrew. Everybody's holding tight. And it looks like Thor's going to hold off and lead. Charles Etienne Boucher had to go a little wide. They got a little close. They may have touched.
Well, that definitely looked like a touch.
And George Griffith got right up on the back end of Charles Etienne Boucher. He had to let off. Cost a little bit of momentum there. Let's Thor continue on, and it looks like he's going to hold on to the lead going into this final corner.
Well, certainly Daniel Blanco described it very accurately. Man, that was close. And I'm like, yep, 100% agree. And you can see there, Xavier Martin is literally, he's dropping further and further back. That gap now about 3 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. You can see there, Michael Lent is starting to pull away from Dennis Barkhouse. Still a little bit of a battle going on a little bit further back there as we have a look at Chuck Carvalho. He's currently going at it with Chris Marion and Richard Zelaya in hot pursuit, but you can see there as we're heading down towards turn 1, you see Fortulo side by side yet again with Etienne Boucher, who picks up a little bit of dirt yet again, ladies and gentlemen, and it's almost 2 by 2 by 1 at this point as Fortulo forced to take the outside line. Etienne Boucher on the inside, but for how long? Griffiths looking to try and make a move as well. It's 1, 2, 3, and even then 4. You can see Ethan Orr right behind. Everybody fighting, jostling, trying to get up into the lead with 4 laps to 12 completed so far.
Yeah, we got a 5-car pack here, and this is just fabulous racing, just like the last race we had, and these Formula V's never disappoint. What a great series, what a great race we've got going on so far. It looks like we've got Charles Etienne Boucher, he's going to hold the lead going into the kink, but as we all know, that could change going up to the Corkscrew with the draft, and Thor Tulo is trying to make a move, as is George Griffith coming up behind him.
Well, certainly these guys have raced incredibly clean so far. I've definitely been enjoying the show, as I'm sure you guys have at home as well. And you can see they're absolutely throwing the car in there. Etienne Boucher currently in the lead ahead of Fortulo. And speaking of Etienne Boucher, we've got some more information here in the chat. Fun fact, Porsche eSprint Challenge for Canada, GT4 champion in 2024. And he's a local stock car driver in Quebec. So certainly I definitely wouldn't argue with the guy. Quebec drivers certainly very passionate individuals. My experience in Montreal, they will beep at you on a stop sign or red light, but don't get me wrong, on the racetrack, these kind of antics very much encouraged. You've got to go, put your foot down, and it does look like Ian Pagadala still managed to hold on to that. Xavier Martin falling a little bit further behind yet again, but certainly in a good, strong, steady position. Right now, the biggest hard charger in the field is this gentleman here, the 151 of Chuck Carvalho, who appears to be blinking in and out a little bit as they're going 3 wide towards turn 1.
Oh, 3 wide is. Let's hope cooler heads prevail here, Zippy, and it looks like they have. They've tightened it down now. They're only 2 wide, and smart racing. Chuck looks like he's doing a good job. He lost 1 position there, but he's still in the hunt. You want to stay in the draft. Don't give up. You know, you can afford to give up position, just don't give up too much space there.
Oh, absolutely. And Rob Wright is leading this pack. The pack goes from about 8th all the way back to 12th, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly incredibly close racing in these Formula V's, which is exactly what we love here on Pit Road Productions. The close racing is where it's at. As you see there, a little bit of a blink there from Rob Wright in the number 45 machine. Dennis Barkhouse certainly a little apprehensive to try and make that pass, but certainly Richard Zelaya looking to try and make a move on Barkhouse.
Yeah, it's always scary when you've got a car blinking in front of you. You're not sure when you can make a move effectively, and Looks like he's just holding back a little bit, Dennis is, but Ricardo Zelaya, he's not. He's like, hey, if you're not going to take the position, I'm going to try and make my move. He's playing tight here, going up towards the corkscrew.
Side by side.
Well, side by side is always thrilling going through the corkscrew, but better heads prevailed, and once again, everybody's through cleanly.
Yeah, it looked like Chuck Cavallo wanted to try and make a move there, and it just ended up backfiring on him. Chris Marion able to snake his way by, but we're going to return back to the lead pack and see exactly what's going on. So right now, Etienne Boucher is leading the charge in the number 89 machine with a 25 of George Griffiths in second, 90 car of Portillo in third, Ian Pagadala and Ethan Orr trailing up in fourth and fifth. Xavier Martin, yep, a little bit further back, kind of on his own. Michael Lenter's kind of in his own world. So basically two big packs here happening, and it's almost like a little bit of a conquer line at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately for Xavier, he's kind of stuck in no man's land. As long as he doesn't make a mistake, he pretty much knows where he's going to finish at this stage of the game, because it's going to be almost impossible to catch up with that lead pack. Looks like we've got two teammates up front now, though. George Griffiths is following Charles-Etienne Boucher. Let's see if they work together, if George is going to try and make a move and get by his team.
Well, certainly it's been an incredible race so far, and ladies and gentlemen, we got several of these tonight. I believe we've got 3 races if my memory serves me correctly, and don't get me wrong, my memory is not always the best, but certainly, if I remember rightly, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 rounds of 15-minute races. Certainly going to be a lot of fun. As you see here, these guys are going to go at it yet again, ladies and gentlemen. 2 wide, certainly going into the corkscrew is brave. I do wonder, can they force it 3 wide on the last lap? I've got a feeling we may even see 4 wide, ladies and gentlemen, as George Griffiths is able to snake his way into second place.
Yeah, George is hanging tough. He's doing a great job tonight. Looks like his work with Charles-Etienne Boucher is paying off, because his pace is a little bit better than we've seen in the past. And yes, you are correct. We've got 3 15-minute or 12-lap races tonight.
You can see here at peak, these guys are doing about 145 kilometers an hour. Oh, that sounded like a mess shift. Did you hear that as well?
I did hear that. It didn't sound good, and it cost position to Aryan Pagadala's now moved up to second. Ethan Orr is third, and George Griffiths slid all the way down to fifth because of that.
So certainly we heard it, ladies and gentlemen, and certainly I think George Griffiths definitely felt it, and that's pushed him back down into fifth. But ladies and gentlemen, look what's happening here. Charles-Etienne Boucher is being able to run away with it a little bit here, as Ian Pagadala has moved up from fifth into second place. Certainly George Griffiths missing that ship very, very instrumental in the top 5 race order. And right now, Ian Pagadala, the hard charger, and being up 4 positions in the field.
Yeah, that misshift has really cost him, because now Aryan's 1.2 seconds behind, it looks like, and that's going to be tough, because he's almost out of draft range, and if you get out of draft range on Charles-Etienne Boucher, you're just not going to catch him.
Oh, I 100% think he's out of draft range at this point. Certainly, he's going to have to pull out just short of a miracle here, or have the camaraderie of his teammates behind him. I say teammates. I don't see any matching liveries, ladies and gentlemen. So it really comes down to it. How hard do these guys want to fight? It's now, is it a race for P2? As Fortulo looking to make a move on the outside, I believe, as they're heading down. Yep. Oh, contact! Ian Pagadala getting a little bit of a tank slapper and gets spun around and straight over, almost killing Xavier Martin. Oh my gosh, that was incredibly close. Definitely not what Ian Pagadala wanted to happen. Let's see if we can get a quick replay of that.
Yeah, that was rather unfortunate. It looked like they just kind of blocked tires going through the corkscrew. 2 wide through there's tough. They made it clean every other lap, but this time it just wasn't to be. And might have been a little bit of net code there as well, and that stinks for Aryan.
Well, definitely not what he wanted to happen. Certainly, you can see there that's cost him very dearly. He's now back in P6, and I've got a feeling something has happened further back through the field. And oh dear, something very big has happened. Dennis Barkhouse appears to be man down. Let's take a quick look at the replay and see exactly what just occurred.
Yeah, here we come. We're coming up to the final corner. I'm not sure what happened here. It looks like we've got Dennis making a move on the inside, a late dive, and yeah, oh, that hurt. That is going to sting. Well, he got his nose, it came off, and it went back on. It was almost like the I got your nose game when you were a kid.
Well, definitely was not what he had in mind, but I've got to say, great sportsmanship there, where he's realized he's made a mistake and then very quickly got it out of the way of oncoming races. But right now, things are definitely mixing up. Ethan Orr is in second, and that gap to Charles-Étienne Boucher opened up to 3 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly what he needed. The points leader is yet again sitting there on the pole, looking to get the maximum haul possible.
Yeah, that mistake by George Griffiths, and then that incident with Thor and Ariane, it basically just let Charles-Étienne Boucher walk away from the field here.
Well, you can see here that it was a 5-way pack, and now it's become 4 as yeah, that very Martin, he's still kind of hanging out on his own at this point, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly from 3 to 5, and you can see here, this is going to be where the action is going to be at. Richard Zelaya, he's about 0.8 of a second there to Michael Lenters, but just on the very edge of slipstream. Certainly he's going to have to pull out a miracle to try and catch the guy ahead of him. He did get caught in that incident earlier. We do wonder if he's maybe got a little bit of damage to that car. We saw him come into contact there with Dennis Barkhouse after that last lap spin. So I do wonder if he's going to be able to catch up. The gap right now, just under a second.
Yeah, as long as he keeps it under a second, doesn't make any mistakes, stays right in that draft, he should be able to pull a little bit of the gap away here in the straightaway.
Oh, yeah.
But let's see what's going on. In the meantime, up in second and third, we've got second, third, and fourth. We got a huge battle going on here, Zippy.
Oh, absolutely. Certainly, Etienne Boucher at this point, he's checked out. He's gone, and right now it's going to be his teammate, potentially George Griffiths, fighting for everything he can. Esports Racing Canada, I can see there on the side of the car. Daniel Blanco cheering him on. And certainly, you know what? There's still a lot to be said here, as we're currently in the, it's a 15-minute timer, but lap 9 of 12, so we may indeed run over a little bit on these races. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, there was a little bit of discussion there in the Discord. And, you know, maybe running a little bit of a longer show today. We'll have to keep an eye on that, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly stick around with us. We'll be here. But you can see here that these guys are absolutely fighting tooth and nail. Excuse me. And it looks like they're going 3 wide into the corkscrew.
Oh, and another, well, they touched tires again, and this time it looks like Ethan Orr got the worst of it, but he's still running. Meanwhile, we got George Griffiths holding tight in second. Not sure how much time we've got, Mississippi. We may want to take a look at Charles-Étienne Boucher and see if the white flag's out, because they got to be near the end here on the time limit.
Well, I do believe that we're going to see a checkered flag this time around. Certainly we're going to stay on board. I can see a flag waiting. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't see that. I believe it's a checkered flag, though.
Yeah, that's the checker flag, Zippy. The timing tower's done. Let's go back to the guys following, and it looks like, yeah, George Griffiths held on for second place. Congratulations, George.
Well, we're going to head back to Ian Pagadala. Oh, not quite. It looks like him and Martin may have been close over the line. No passes done. Next closest battle is going to be, yep, there as they cross the line, ladies and gentlemen. I've just realized this is what happens when you commentate and produce, because if I'm just commentating, I use one software. If I'm producing, I use another one. And I'm there looking at my timing screen, looking for the checkered flag, and that's in the other one. Hence the confusion, ladies and gentlemen. So fair play there. Having a little bit of a senior moment, ladies and gentlemen, which is ironic considering I'm working with Richard. And I do understand we're going to have 9 laps for the next race. But let's see if we can get up the results here, final results here for the first round this evening.
Yeah, the first race looked like it went 9 laps for 15 minutes, so I believe that's what we're going to get for the second race. The winner today, or in the first race, Charles-Étienne Boucher put out a pretty dominating performance. George Griffiths, nice to see him get second place after that little misshift incident. Thor Tulo in third, rounding out the podium. Ethan Orr put up a good battle in the Christmas car, finishing fourth. Xavier Martin all by himself in fifth. Arjen Pagadel, after that incident with Thor, he ended up sixth. We had Michael Lenters 7th, Ricardo Zelaya 8th, Chris Marion in 9th, Dennis Barkhouse in 10th, Rob Wright finished 11th, Chuck Caravella in 12th, and Eugene Cartini, he finished in 13th. It looks like he may have pulled off early.
Yeah, definitely not the race he was looking for, ladies and gentlemen, but we are already on the move again for race 2 of this evening here at Laguna Seca. And this time, George Griffiths is going to be starting here on the pole. Etienne Boucher right alongside, ladies and gentlemen. So I do wonder, can these two teammates work together and potentially slingshot themselves up away from the field? While it's a fantastic technique, I don't think they're going to be able to get it done. The competition just going to be too fierce and fall too low in Ethan Orr. Certainly, Xavier Martin, certainly him being in there, I think this could be the break he needed as they're getting ready to go green, 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 ladies and gentlemen, and Eddie and Boucher taking us over the start-finish line.
Yeah, there was George tucking in right behind, and it looks like they're getting smart. They're going 1 by 1, not 2 by 2 through the first corner. Well, I said that, and I should have. There you go. And Thor's going to try and stick a nose in there and get himself up by George, and it looks like he's got that move done so far. Oh, we got a spin in behind.
That's Chris Marion, ladies and gentlemen, and don't get me wrong, adorable doggy there in the picture, but maybe not let him behind the wheel. Definitely turn one was not what they had in mind, but you can see there, battles happening throughout the field. The field very much in one piece. I do believe there's just one car maybe dropped off. Eugene Cartini, actually, not seeing him currently on the field. Chris Marion, not seeing him. There we go. Let's try this again. Yeah, Eugene Cartini, I believe something's happened with him there, because I've got nothing on the
Yeah, I don't think him or Chuck took the start on this race for some reason. But meanwhile, we're up front. We're going through the kink. We got Charles Etienne Boucher in first. We got George Griffiths second. Thor Tulo in third. And Ethan Orr in fourth. Let's see what happens going up towards the corkscrew. See who tries to make a move and who survives.
But certainly it will indeed be a battle of survival. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen, an absolute procession of cars as they head through the corkscrew. Hard to get the real grasp of the elevation change as they head through. But right now, Eddie Boucher absolutely dominating. He won race 1. He's leading race 2. But for how long? His teammate, George Griffiths, once again going toe-to-toe with Paul Tulo. Can he do it? Both of them also taking a lot of the sand there, almost getting into the David Hasselhoff scenario, able to bring it back on track. I don't think there'll be a slowdown, but certainly potentially a race-ending move, certainly on the rejoin, incredibly close there. A lot of the drivers really running wide in the final turn.
Yeah, they're all making use of off tracks. I don't know if there's any penalties for incidents here. I'm guessing not, because they're not afraid to use all of the sand, or the grass as you like to call it.
Oh, absolutely. And I do see here this race is going to continue to get even spicier, not just up here, but further back in the battles as well. We got Dennis Barkhouse. Once again, he's going to be playing there with Michael Lentis and Richard Zelaya. A freeway fight here. They are falling behind a little bit to the number 13 car of Xavier Martin, who is in this case just able to hold on to the back of that lead pack. He's got about 4 tenths, 5 tenths per second in it. If he can stay with them, he could potentially make a move in the closing stages of the race.
Yeah, we want to see Xavier have a good... hold on to that draft. He wasn't able to in the first race. Here we are in lap 2. So far, so good. But he's just got to keep clean and just keep following that train ahead of him.
Well, I do understand as well. If
and who went? Somebody went off the back here.
Barkhouse.
Oh no, poor Dennis.
Well, definitely not the night that Dennis Barkhouse was looking for in the 9112 machine, but I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful thing about modern cell phones is you can indeed watch us anywhere. If you're on the beach, if you're in the lounge, if you're in bed, or if you're even, just following natural duties, ladies and gentlemen. I do understand we are being watched from the porcelain throne, but I've got to say, you know what? I'll take it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in. And you can see here as well, as the battle continues, certainly no porcelain throne here on the racetrack at Laguna Seca. 4-2 definitely maybe getting off track for that there, running a little bit past the curve, but they've got to keep an eye on this number 89 machine, because he's certainly trying to pull away with about 4-5 tenths of a second in the lead.
Yeah, if Thor's going to do his utmost to make sure that he doesn't get much further ahead, and he's falling real close. I don't think Charles Etienne Boucher is going to be able to pull the gap he did last time, unless the guys behind make a mistake or start battling too hard against each other.
Well, I do have some information here from Daniel Blanco, who's definitely hanging out in the chat. So himself, George, and Eddie Boucher, very close, and they're a couple of really talented kids, and he encouraged them to enter as they felt they had a solid shot to both test. Well, there is one prize. Well, I guess because the second and third prize just gets subsidized, actually, testing, if I remember rightly. And that's it. You know what it is, ladies and gentlemen, we need to run more of these events just so I can keep up to date and keep it fresh in the memory right now. But you can see here, certainly the teammates are indeed doing everything they can. I do wonder if Eddie and Boucher maybe lifted off to try and give a little bit of assistance there to his teammate, to George Griffith there. And you see the little puff of unburnt fuel being sent down the exhaust. 3-way fight, 4-way fight. No, ladies and gentlemen, we have a 6-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, Xavier's managing to hold on. He's staying with that draft. He's less than half a second behind. Good for him. You just got to be there when the moment counts. We're only on lap 3. We expect 9 laps this race. So as long as you're up there, you got a chance, because who knows what's going to happen ahead of you.
You can see there, 4-2 he's going to be on the inside from the start and then on the outside, and that's exactly what George Griffiths was looking for. He's been able to snake ahead, albeit only just nose to nose, tail to tail. Not quite, ladies and gentlemen. They're side by side as Griffiths is there. He's holding on. He's trying to get in line with his teammate. Not quite closes the door there on Tulo, but certainly places the car strategically there as we have a teammate 1 and 2. I believe it's Canada eSports, if I remember rightly. I need to get a better view the side of that car, ladies and gentlemen, but right now a 6-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, 6-way fight. Jose Timbuche pulled out a half-second lead with that little bit of a battle through the corkscrew, but these guys, looks like Thor's really wanting to close that in, and George doesn't want him to.
If we have a look from the cockpit view there of 4-2, albeit a slightly dirty visor, look at the mirrors, absolutely full with the 76 car of Ethan Orr, a very intimidating sight indeed. And then you got Ian Pagadala making a mix in there as well. That's actually quite scary with the mirrors on. I keep them turned off when I race. I look at them like, damn. And you see here.
I always race with mine on, because I want the realism. I mean, I'm not real, but the mirrors at least look real.
Well, I do get Daniel Blanco saying he's liking what Eugene is doing here. I'm not exactly sure what he's referring to, so by all means expand on that. If you mean the series, then I absolutely do agree. I do like what he's doing here with the series. Certainly a lot of fun. If anything, we want more of them, ladies and gentlemen. That would be great. But right now, your order is Charles Etienne Boucher in first, George Griffiths in second, and 4-2 closing out the top 3.
Yeah, and here we come. We're coming up to another run here at the corkscrew. Teammates aren't going to take each other out. Everybody's falling in line. I don't think anybody really wants to risk anything just yet. We're less than halfway through the race, and they just want to keep clean and keep themselves in a good position for the last lap or two.
Right now it is an eSports Racing Canada P1, P2, and certainly 4-2 for Brabham Motorsport there. Certainly a very capable individual indeed. Young lad as well. He's currently resting in P3. Ethan Orr is he's certainly looking to try and make a move with the Mid-South team. Certainly more of a region, I guess, there. And Ian Pagadala, do they have any team sport? No, Canadian. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get out for the Canadian driver of Ian Pagadala, currently resting in P5. And actually, a huge respect there to Ethan Orr as well, because don't get me wrong, he's going to have to come to Canada should he be successful in getting his hands on one of these test sessions.
Yeah, as with Thortulo, and I believe when we talked to him last race, he said he would make the trip overseas. So let's see what happens here today, Zippy. Again, we got battling going on. We've got George Griffiths and Thortulo going wheel to wheel around the corners, and so far George Griffiths doing a good job of holding off Thor.
Well, I do gotta wonder, is Etienne Boucher going to very deliberately lift off and try and help his teammate, try and keep him in the draft? You can see there, Griffiths very quickly tucking behind. You see the unburnt fuel coming out of the exhaust. I promised it was that and not something that he ate for lunch, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, both can cause a huge puff of smoke, but right now you can see the 89 is there in the lead with the 25 in second and the 90 in third.
Yeah, they've gone through the kink. They've just lined it up single file. Charles Etienne Boucher had a half-second lead, but now they're closing up the gap now as we're coming up to the corkscrew again. George Griffiths letting off. Thortulo following in line. Everybody getting through clean. We still got that 6-car battle up front.
Oh, absolutely fantastic so far. Very clean racing. We're going to keep an eye, see if we've got any other battles going on. Right now, the rest of the field quite spread out. All the action is indeed in the top 6 right now. 4-2 resting in third. He certainly keeps trying. Ethan Orr and Ian Pagadala, maybe not quite as aggressive as the lead couple of drivers, but we do see Ian Pagadala certainly wants to make moves. And very quick mention as well, Rob Wright. He's currently up 4 positions, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Rob Wright is having a decent race here tonight. He's not making any mistakes. That's allowed him to move up 4 positions. As for Aryan Pagadella, I think he might be doing better, but his spotter apparently decided to sleep instead and missed the race. So Aryan's all on his own out there. He doesn't have any help.
Well, certainly that seems to be the case, as the people who do have help is the eSports Racing Canada team. These guys are working together, working in unison. And you've got to wonder as well, do you maybe want to try and secure a teammate? While a spotter is a fantastic resource to have, having cars on the track is even better, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly you can communicate and try and slipstream, work together and potentially try and secure the front grid. Certainly if you had 2 or if not 3 of you, you could indeed go 3 wide, do the whole course that way, and be, don't get me wrong, potentially a little bit irritating, but almost formation this thing. So I got to wonder, is there more team plans here in the future at the Canadian F1200 Esports Championship?
Oh, this is fabulous racing. I'm loving this, Zippy. The first race was a banger, and this one looks to be too. We've still got 6 cars in this lead pack. George Griffiths is looking like he's trying to make a little bit of a move, and but Thor Tulo's sticking a nose in. Wow, that was tight, but everybody's getting through clean once again.
Well, you can see here, no pit stops in this race either, and I gotta say, I do like the steering wheel on these Formula Vee cars, and I gotta be honest, the dash as well, I'm actually quite appealed to that. That's, you know, simplistic but functional. You can see the electronic there, the microns there in the middle. Certainly, you get a lot of data out of a lot of stuff like that. Certainly not my area of expertise, and it depends on what package you've got, but right now, it's not what's really going to matter for these cars. You can see here, Tulo there in third, very much in the slipstream. If you look behind him, ladies and gentlemen, you can see there, even Aura's there, Ian Pagadala is there as well, as is Xavier Martin in sixth.
Wow, we're on lap 7 now, Zippy. I think we've got, you know, just under 3 laps to go if my calculations are correct, and it's pretty soon it's going to be time to make some moves. And whoa, George Griffiths trying to stick a nose in, but that may have cost him a little bit because Thor's now got the inside for the next corner, and yeah, Thor manages to make a move and get second place by George trying to take first.
Well, you got to wonder as well, is there going to be maybe some strategic passing? Look how close he is. If he gets any closer, this oh yeah, oh my. Oh my.
Well, that's a visual, isn't it, Sippy?
You can see there, it looks like George Griffiths is one in that position back. That's contact once, twice, 4-2. Absolutely, he's pushed off a little bit there, to be honest. Definitely not had the best of luck, and that is going to put him down back into 5th place. A little bit of a tap there from George Griffiths. I don't think it was intentional, but certainly maybe questionable after the race. I'm not going to get too involved in that, but that has opened up the door for Ethan Orr, the American driver, who's currently up 2 positions, resting in 2nd.
Yeah, Thor's not going to be too happy with that. He had the position, and anyhow, they're going on, and we've still got over 2 laps to go. Let's see what Thor can make another charge up to the front. Still lots of time if he can keep in that draft.
Oh, absolutely, and I certainly think he's going to be motivated to do so. While it means he's going to have to fly himself over from the UK, he's got the skill set, he's got the experience, but that's not what matters. What matters is, can he get the points? And right now, he's back in 5th. This is not where he's going to want to be, especially where the start position for your next race actually goes. Well, it's based where you finish here to find your grid position for the next race. That's exactly what I meant to say, but getting a little bit twisted there as Ethan Orr, I believe, is going side by side with George Griffiths trying to take over 2nd.
Yeah, Ethan hugging the inside line, and the inside line's where you want to be, and looks like he's got the move done.
Well, we've got to keep an eye there on George Griffiths. Certainly, I don't think it was intentional. We've raced with him before, but maybe a little bit too much of a squeeze there on Fortula, who's now currently back in 5th place. And you see there, Eddie and Boucher really taking a lot of track there. Xavier Martin, he's currently resting back in 6th. He seems pretty content there to run at the back of the pack. Beautiful Pit Road Productions logo on that car, but this is going to be the person I think to keep an eye out for. We're on lap 8 of 12, or 8 of 9 potentially. Can Fortulo snake his way through the field? Very aggressive into there, using the understeer to slow the car down and maybe compromise his corner exit a little bit there as they're heading up the hill towards the corkscrew.
Yeah, a little aggressive, but that may have cost him on the exit. One thing to note, though, is Charles Etienne Boucher is using a lot of off tracks. I see it looks like he's got 9 so far this race, and by my understanding, after 12, you got to drive through. So got to keep an eye on that too, Zippy.
Well, definitely something he has to keep an eye on. Certainly, it's all very good being the fastest, but it's not necessarily going to work out for you, as it looks like Ethan Orr and Chris Griffiths are going at it yet again, and this could be exactly what Fortulo needs. He's going to have that battle right in front of him. Ian Pagadala kind of in his way at this point, as you see there. He's looking to make a move on the outside. He's there. He's got rights to be there, and it's going to be on the outside. Can he keep the momentum going? You see there, Ian Pagadala, incredible tight line, having a little bit of a blinking moment there. Tulo needs to get back in the draft, and I think he heard me, ladies and gentlemen, as they go back into single file as they start the final lap.
Yeah, the final lap underway, and Thor's really going to be hard-pressed to get on the podium here, and looks like Charles Etienne Boucher is starting to walk away with it, and as we're starting to make our approach down the Andretti curve, everybody's through cleanly, trying to get in line. A little bump, somebody gets pushed off line there. Ethan Orr's still going, though.
That's Ian Pagadala right now going side to side with George Griffiths. Fortulo, nowhere he can go at this point. He's going to put a nose in anyway. This time he's on the inside with George Griffiths. If there's contact, certainly it'll be a little bit of karma there. There's been space left. These guys are almost Well, vertical alignment of wheels there. Tulo being respectful, leading the space, and absolutely having to compromise there as Griffiths is there on the inside, but he's going to get a run as they're heading up towards the corkscrew. They're going up the hill. Certainly some people not as keen there, where the cars are quite low on power. Definitely not a big fan of the hill, but if he's going to have to make a move, he's got to do it now. The rival ahead of him of George Griffiths, the guy who gave him a little bit of a punting off. Is he going to emerge out on top? We see Iron Pagadala ahead. Four Tulos on the inside. Griffith's going to be on the outside. How is this going to shape out?
Yeah, I don't think Thor's going to give an inch here. I think he's had enough, and he's wanting the position. That moves him up to fourth, but he's really looking for a podium, and it's going to be tough to get from back there.
Well, he's got it, but for how long now? Both of these drivers taking a little bit of an off track. You can see there, Etienne Boucher going to go round. He's going to cross the line for his his second win in a row, and don't get me wrong, one of many right now. But you know what? We're going to focus on the drag race happening right now. It's between 4-2 and George Griffiths, and a big Griffiths just got it at the line.
Wow.
Oh man, that's rough for four, but certainly Etienne Boucher, another fantastic drive there. Ethan Orr able to get second, with Iron Pagadala in third. Griffiths and four incredibly close. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. Actually, looked like it was incredibly close action here.
1/100th of a second apart at the end here, Zippy.
I may have hit that a little bit too soon. Ladies and gentlemen, let's savor the moment of this. We're gonna phrase it like that. Let's savor the moment. You can see just how close it is. It's maybe about a foot in the gap as they cross the line. Incredibly close battle. Wow. Well, let's have a quick look there over the results there for the race 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Race 2 was another exciting thriller. We got Charles Etienne Boucher, his second win of the evening, followed by Ethan Orr in second, and Aryan Pagadella rounding out the podium. George Griffiths finished in fourth. Thor Tulo, unfortunately, got fifth. Xavier Martin held on for sixth. Then we had Rob Wright, Ricardo Zelaya, Dennis Barkhouse, Chris Marion, Michael Lenters, and Chuck Carvala and Eugene Cartini did not take the starting line grid.
Well, definitely a very interesting race indeed, ladies and gentlemen, as these guys head over onto the warm-up. Certainly, I think the last race, as we've seen so far, will probably be the spiciest one of the lot. Certainly a lot of fun here at Laguna Seca, and definitely exactly what Etienne Boucher is looking for in the points. Certainly another couple of wins is exactly what he's going to be needed here, but what incredible racing so far.
Yeah, it's this is our third week broadcasting these guys, and it's a third week in a row where they've given us some outstanding, thrilling racing. I'm starting to wonder, we're getting to get to the point soon where I think Charles Etienne Boucher is going to have this championship locked up. I don't know if he has yet or not, but I think he's going to be trying to go for a three-peat tonight.
Well, certainly he's going to do everything he can. Actually, let's take a quick review of the points here, ladies and gentlemen, before they started this evening's events. Try that again. There we go. And you can see here at the top, Etienne Boucher, he came in a little bit of zippy mouse, 112 points ahead. That's quite a potent lead. So I think P1 potentially could be secured at this point. Certainly, I'm not going to try and do the math on that, ladies and gentlemen, but Fortulo is resting in second. Certainly, and Stuart Ross not here today, so his nearest threat not in the mix. But Iron Pagadala did indeed get a couple of points up that last race. Xavier Martin and actually Alex McLean, he's also absent today. I'm going to have to give him a little bit of a nudge there. The Britannia iSports driver absent from this evening, but certainly Ethan Orr able to capitalize on that. He's currently in seventh. He's going to definitely be moving up the field. McLean not present. And Xavier Martin really not had quite the pace this evening.
Yeah, he's been a little off, but I think he's got the pace if he stays in that draft. I mean, he was doing all right for the first 3 or 4 laps, but one little mistake, and if you get outside of about 0.8 of a second, then you're gonna start falling back. And unfortunately, that happened to him in both the first 2 races.
Oh, absolutely, and it just goes to show as well. You've really got to stay with the lead pack. We've seen it be incredibly close at the start, then develop into 2 packs, and certainly if you end up on your own, you guaranteed to stay there at this point, short of somebody else making an accident. But right now they're out on warm up. as I say that, I think there's only one person who's actually out using the track. Not even, ladies and gentlemen, these guys have literally gone for a coffee break.
Well, I think at this stage of the game, they've been practicing for some of them for as long as, an hour or more, and then they're 15 minutes of qualifying and two 15-minute races. So there's not much more to learn, Zippy. They know what they know. They know where their strengths are, and it's just a matter of the racecraft at this stage, and it's hard to practice racecraft being the only person out on track.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is certainly what I tend to specialize in more so. Pace, not got that, but certainly racecraft, I know that Richard could definitely attest to. If he wanted to admit it, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he'd deny it at all costs.
I wouldn't know, Zippy. I can't remember the last time I actually saw you on the track, but maybe.
Don't you worry. There is an idea in the works that could see me, you, Reese, and indeed Mike Broomhead working very closely together, doing commentary and indeed driving as well. It's a project in the mix, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to leave that on the back burner for now. Certainly, we've got some fun things planned for Pit Road Productions as well. There's going to be maybe an offshoot channel coming. We've got to check to make sure we can indeed use the name we've got in mind. We're not going to say it on this stream, but certainly it's going to be a little bit colourful, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're looking for some more off-the-handle kind of commentary, don't worry, we're going to have you covered there. But right now, Ian Pagadala are resting in the pits, and I believe that is one of the... it's Charles, Eddie and Boucher. They're resting in the pits as well, one of these air-cooled motors. Certainly, good cars, good fun, and I do like as well. They're quite simplistic to work on, from what I understand.
Well, they're really simplistic, especially when you're doing it in the sim, because it's just click, click, and away you go. And anyhow, once again, Eugene Cartini, thanks a lot for putting on this series. It's been a lot of fun for us here at Pit Road Productions to broadcast. I'm sure the racers are just absolutely loving it, not to mention the great prize you're offering up. We really appreciate what you're doing for sim racing in Canada, Eugene, and we're hoping that you are able, and you're here, going to take the third race checker and at least start the race and hopefully get all the way through to the finish.
Oh, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, that is indeed the end of the warm-up. Certainly these guys have took a bit of a break. And don't get me wrong, if you want to sponsor Pit Road Productions, give us a shout, because at that point, we could have played your ad, ladies and gentlemen. We're not greedy. We don't expect millions. A couple of 100,000 will do. But certainly, if you've got any kind of product that, you'd like to ship, or, I'm sure we can work something out. Very easy to deal with, practical approach. And you know what? It doesn't have to be a product. It can be like, if you want us to promote your music, for example, you got an idea, by all means, send it to us. Leave a comment on the chat. Certainly, we'd love to work with some people and just, try and get a little bit of advertising going in the nice way, ladies and gentlemen, here on Pit Road Productions. But right now, these guys are getting ready to grid. You can see Eddie Boucher is already there. Just Chuck Carvalho and Eugene Cartini yet to take to the grid. Not sure if they will for race 3. Certainly, we have seen them absent so far.
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate. Chuck had a little issue there in the first race, and I think he may have decided to pack it in for the night. And anyhow, here we go. We're following the pace car around for third race, Zippy, and I expect this one to be just as thrilling as the last two.
Thrilling indeed, and certainly I got to say to some of our viewers as well, by all means go see a doctor. Definitely, taking their time there and on that porcelain throne. But certainly you can see here right now, these guys are in a different kind of seat, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the hot seat, and it's Eddie Boucher. Can he make it free for free? As the lights are going green, and we're going to see these guys get ready to go back into single file.
Here we go. Start of the 9 laps, race 3. Charles Etienne Boucher holding on. He's got first place. We're going too wide, going into the Mario Andretti curve. Wow, George Griffith going way wide.
Well, definitely not what he was looking for, and you can already see there a couple of passes have occurred a little bit further back in the field, actually, but these guys are going to want to get into single file as quickly as possible. You can see that George Griffiths has got his nemesis right behind him. It's for Tulo. Now, I've got a feeling we may get a little bit of rivalry here. Certainly, Tulo is going to be motivated to get ahead. He could have been on the podium last race, and it did not work out in his favor. Definitely had a little bit of bad luck, and can he capitalize on that right now? As we're going to have a look back a little bit further, I believe Chris Marion may have crashed. Oh dear.
Oh, that does not look good. That's not the way we want to start.
Oh, that was a bit of curb there. Bonk.
It wasn't the first curve that got him. It was that threw him a little offline and off balance, but couldn't hold on to it once he got all the way on the sand. That's unfortunate, Chris. I look forward to seeing you next time out.
Yeah, that definitely was not what he wanted to do at the start. But right now, Eddie Boucher is there in the lead. He's got I Am Pagadala in second. His spotter currently absent, ladies and gentlemen. But you can see there, George Griffiths is currently resting in third, with Ethan Orr in fourth, and Fortulo in fifth. So yet again, these guys have broken away from the rest of the field. If you have a look at the second pack, you can see back here, Rob Wright having a good race this evening. He's there in second. Richard Zelaya looking like he's trying to make a move there on the inside. Not quite able to get it done. And they're both starting to break away a little bit there from the pack of 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Yeah, Xavier Martin is... he's dropped 3 places. He didn't have the great start he was hoping for this race, but still lots of laps to go as long as he stays in the draft with the mid pack here.
Well, we have seen Barkhouse have a couple of incidents right now, but he's there. And you know what? He's having fun, ladies and gentlemen, in the 912 machine. And certainly looks like he's got people to play with, and that is exactly what you want. As you see, a little bit of an off track there, but very much in the pack. And he's getting a good close there on Xavier Martin. And I've got a feeling I'm still absolutely murdering that name. I'm a creature of habit, ladies and gentlemen. I never said they're all good habits. And you can see there, he's going around the right hand of that draft, really coming into play, separating almost into 2 packs. He's going to want to make sure he tucks behind that Formula Vee. Yeah, there we go. Tucks behind it. Get the
He's got himself in good position. I think he's just got to stay clean. He's had some decent pace today. I mean, he's been battling with some guys, but just a couple of little unfortunate incidents have cost him positions. That's just the way it goes sometimes.
Well, certainly we've got to thank Double Apex in the chat for giving us a little bit of giggles. Yes, you can't rush greatness, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm 34 years old. But certainly you can see here, looks like there's going to be some moves as they head down into the corkscrew. And yeah, that is a move. And it's Richard Zelaya absolutely cutting across as they're going to go 2 wide, 3 wide around the left-hander.
Well, that's a dangerous place. I don't know if there's contact or just got a little bit loose. Unfortunately for Richard, he's done himself a 360.
Oh, no.
He's lost the rest of the pack now.
Oh, no. We got to check a replay here.
Something happened with Thor Tulo, Zippy.
Well, here we have Ethan Orr, and oh yeah, Tulo's gone around. Let's have a quick look here. Gonna ride on board. You can see here, side by side, everything's looking clean. Oh no. Maybe a little bit in net code, but honestly, I think that one may have been self-induced.
Yeah, I think he just got a little, got the car a little off balance with a couple of tires on the sand, and well, that was the end of that. Unfortunately for Thor, it's not. That's 2 weeks in a row. He just hasn't had his weeks to go with his pace. Well, that's definitely not what he was looking for, and I do believe he's not left the session, but certainly that's pretty much put him out of the running for any points to this race. But right now you can see the eSports Racing Canada are yet again P1 and P2. Actually, the hard charger right now is this gentleman here, Michael Lenders, in the number 5 car, up 5 positions. Oh, you gave the kiss of death.
oh, he's hooked on to Rob Wright.
Oh,
that was interesting.
That's just a real tough break. So much for his great advances there, but man, that's just bad luck. Well, let's see exactly what happened. We're on board with Rob Wright right now, and you can see there the number 6 car. Everyone's looking at dear. That's what happened. That's a tough corner. There's a couple of different alternate lines to go through there, but oh man. I'm wondering if he took a little damage in that incident, and that's causing a little bit of control issues for Michael now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has indeed got spicy for the last race. Definitely, I think he was along for the ride there. But right now, the big battle is between the lead pack and also these 2 gentlemen, Dennis Barkhouse and Xavier Martin. Jeez, Dennis is up to 6th place. You know, you got to stay in it to win it, and even if winning it is winning 5th place, that's we're not out battling for the lead. I can't remember the last time I podiumed, so I'm a Dennis Barkhouse fan. Let's see what he can do here on Xavier. Well, I can't remember the last time you podiumed either, but I certainly remember the last time you was on a pole, ladies and gentlemen. And but let's just say, for argument's sake, I mean racing, ladies and gentlemen, as we're having a little bit of banter here in the Pit Road Productions booth. But Fortulo currently still in the session. He's I don't think he's in the car, but certainly the sad part is it appears that we've literally lost half of the field. 13 car field, and 8 through 13 are currently not here on track at this point. Yeah, it's been a tough race. 2 guys didn't take the start. We've had 4 more have incidents and just decide to park it at this stage. It looks like. Oh well, but anyways, we got good battles still going on. Charles Etienne Boucher up front, George Griffiths in second. He's kind of the inside, but I don't think he's going to push the issue too much. They're teammates. Charles has got a good chance of securing himself that test drive, and what kind of a teammate would you be if you knocked your buddy out?
Well, I mean, that's a different way of technique, right? I mean, if Griffiths can help secure Etienne Boucher, if he can help him secure the lockout, then at that point, that opens up Etienne Boucher to do everything he can do to help the 25 car of George Griffiths. And that will be an interesting dynamic indeed, because certainly at that point, there is no point fighting for the lead. Don't get me wrong, you want to do it for pride, for racing, but it's a team game, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, having a teammate has proved to be quite advantageous right now for the eSports Racing Canada drivers. Ian Pagadala currently resting in third. The spotter hanging out in the track, that's Ryan Mazumda, ladies and gentlemen. Currently absent from the session unless he's rejoined, decided to have a nap, and at this point I gotta wonder, will that spotter be of high benefit where he's fighting with so much? He's got third position right now. Could we potentially see a win here from the number 12 car?
Arian's had great pace all season long, and I believe week 1 or week 2, one of the weeks, I think he was on the podium, maybe even second or first. So it's interesting here. We've got the teammates 1 and 2, but Arian's hanging real tight in third, just trying to figure out a way. How is he going to get past? And that's what he's trying to figure out at this stage.
Well, not only that, he has Ethan Orr behind him, and at this point here as well, when you see somebody have such dominance that has come from the 89 car, you've always got to wonder, do they make themselves like public enemy number 1? As it looks like Griffiths is going to try and make a move there. He's got the run. I've got a feeling these guys will be communicating in Discord, as it looks like Ian Pagadala looking to try and split the difference, and those guys ahead, very aware of that, absolutely shut the door, and Ian Boucher able to hold on to it. I have definitely got a feeling that the eSports Canada drivers are indeed communicating and very strategically manipulating the field.
Yeah, it looks like that to me. I mean, George pulled out to go left, but it didn't look like he had any intentions, even with that run, of passing Charles Etienne, just basically occupying that space so Arian couldn't get by.
Well, certainly it's still going to be a very tough battle indeed, as we have about 4 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen, and right now it is a battle for P1 between Charles Etienne Boucher, Griffiths, and Ian Pagadala, with Ethan Orr bringing up the 4th place as well. And I got to think as well, Ian Pagadala is going for it right now. I think Ethan Orr maybe indeed be waiting. As I say that, for a second there, I thought they were going to go 4 wide. And you see Pagadala running wide on the inside. Ethan Orr is now going to be side by side. Is this going to be beneficial to them in the long game? Certainly, as long as they can stay in that draft, they will be able to stay with the lead pair of cars.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this stage, Arian and Ethan almost have to work together to try and get past George, because George is doing everything in his power to make sure that Charles Etienne Boucher does not give up that lead.
Well, certainly very much a lot still at play here. Can Etienne Boucher get the lockout? Certainly, I'm not sure on the point side. Maybe Daniel Blanco, actually, he's pretty good with numbers. Maybe he can work it out exactly how much is needed. And, certainly it would be a very favorable scenario for him. But right now, you can see here the 2 eSports Racing Canada cars, P1, P2, Ian Pagadala and Ethan Orr. I do wonder if they would be beneficial to form a temporary truce just to try and take on these 2 teammates. That doesn't look like a truce.
No, it doesn't look like one, but, we'll find out. We're coming up to the last 3 laps to go. We're just finishing up lap 6 here, and these guys are still all real close. 4 cars all within about 0.7 of a second.
Incredibly close fighting here at Laguna Seca. Certainly it's a track that's on my bucket list of places to drive. Definitely not quite as attainable as some of the Canadian ones. And you know what? Honestly, I think if I'm going to go drive a racetrack, Daniel Blanco, not a numbers guy. I put you on the spot and it backfired, but it was worth a go. I was giving you credit there, sir. You could have winged it. It would have been fine. But right now, we can see here, well, certainly quite popular in the chat there. Currently resting in 5th. Quite a quiet race there. Dennis Barkhouse has managed to drop back a little bit, as has Richard Zelaya and Rob Wright. Michael Lennis is, I believe they've left the session, ladies and gentlemen. Nope, they're back out on track. They have rejoined. Definitely not the outlook that they were looking for. And I believe something may have happened with Rob Wright at some point as well. But these guys are back in it. They're still running, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, your hard charger is Dennis Barkhouse.
Yeah, Dennis is having himself a good run. He's up to 6th place and holding tight. Xavier Martin is in 5th again. And here we go. We got, wow. George Griffiths may have Oh, Aryan may have finally, but Ethan Orr is taking advantage of that hard battling, and well, this is going to be interesting going through the kink here, Zippy. 3 wide, and they shut it down. Oh no.
That may have been netcode. I'm hoping it wasn't, and that was incredibly close there from Ethan Orr and Ian Pagadala. I've got to wonder as well, these guys for a second I thought were going to get the better of the 2 teammates ahead, and I do think if they're going to beat them, that's exactly what they're going to have to do. They are going to have to work together. Certainly, if you're going to have one force it down the inside, that may open up an opportunity there for the car behind. It all depends how you want to play it, but incredibly close racing here at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. When you go for that move, if you make it, great, but if you don't, you're shuffling back, and unfortunately, that's what happened there.
Well, incredibly close racing indeed. Fortulo, if you're watching, I would definitely, I'd enjoy having you in for an interview. Certainly, you've got my sympathies here, and certainly my respect as a race car driver, not just in the sim world, but in the real world as well. As they're heading down, we are currently on lap 8. It is getting closer to the end, and right now, the Canada eSports, eSports Racing Canada team, very much dominant with P1 and P2.
Yeah, I don't know if it's planned per se, but these guys have worked together well. Charles Boucher's had pace all night. George Griffiths has had pace all night as well through practice and qualifying, and they've just done what they needed to do during the races. And here we go, 1 and 2.
Well, I'll just send Fortulo a message on Discord, see if we can steal him for an interview. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sure if he's got it open, but we're certainly going to make the request if you want to come on in. Definitely our commiserations for sure. Certainly he's got the talent, he's got the pace, but definitely not had the best of luck. And to quote a very talented commentator, I've got to say, he's been hit with a falling anvil on more than one occasion. But could this be what we need here for Ethan Orr? He's managed to force it 3 wide. Are we going to see 4 wide? Potentially. They look at their try it, ladies and gentlemen. Incredibly close racing. Are the
oh no, my goodness. And Ethan Orr looks like not Ethan Orr, sorry, Arian Pagadella took advantage of that incident. He jumped up right up to the front after those 2 or 3 cars got together.
Well, that indeed was the jackpot there for Ian Pagadala, and it's fair to say all he's got to do is bring it home at this point. 3.7 seconds ahead. It's still not a huge hit there for the eSports Racing Canada team. 2nd and 3rd, respectively. Griffiths is in 2nd. Ethan Orr, however, he's fallen back a little further, and he may indeed... Who was that now? Somebody just shot off into the pits. Michael Lentis, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Lentis just entered the pit. I thought it was one of these guys. There we go. So, as it stands right now, definitely a mix in the field. Ethan Orr at this point is pretty much hung out to dry, but the chat's going wild for the number 12 car of Ian Pagadala, absolutely able to capitalize on that incident.
Yeah, Arian is finally getting some luck go his way. He's tried to make the moves earlier, wasn't able to take advantage, but this time he just waited for the opportunity when the others got together. I mean, it was lap 8. It was do or die. They had to try something, and you know, the moves were made, and unfortunately they didn't work out, but Arian took advantage, full advantage.
Well, we're going to take a little bit of an extended replay here, ladies and gentlemen, and see exactly how all of this unfolded here. So you see Ian Pagadala is back there in P4 as they're going to head up the hill, and certainly it got very interesting, very dicey as they're heading towards the corkscrew. Don't get me wrong, I had a feeling it was going to go 4 wide, and you can see here momentum is really going to come into play. 1, 2, 3. Can I see 4 now? The auctioneer style in me is absolutely going for it. And yep, ladies and gentlemen, for a brief second there, they were 3 wide. And you can see there, the door gets closed. Ethan Orr runs a little bit wide, collides with the with one of the teammate cars, and that is exactly what Pagadala needed.
Yeah, I saw Ethan was making apologies in the chat, I believe. Believe he just washed out a little wide trying to make a dive on the inside, and that was the end of Charles' chance at getting a 3rd victory here tonight.
Well, he may not get a 3rd victory, but right now he is indeed resting in 2nd place. Now, you got to ask, is this a team decision? But right now, it's not going to matter. Ian Pagadala is going to come away with the lead, and we're going to see in the background, I think that may have been a team decision, ladies and gentlemen. George Griffiths very much not looking to fight his teammate there. I definitely think that was intentional, you know, a team order finish. Like, oh! Spicy,
George,
actually. Good 360. I'll give him that.
You know, that was a fabulous way to finish. George, happy. He ran solid all night tonight. You know, he had I believe 2 second place finishes and a 3rd. So that's a solid night when you're racing against the guys of the like of Charles Boucher.
Well, definitely, and it has indeed been a very, very close battle here. I believe we've got one car maybe left to go over the finish line, ladies and gentlemen. And it's Rob Wright, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, he's back a little way. He's actually heading up into the corkscrew right now. He's in P8, and he's just chilling at the minute. He's kind of on his own at this point. We'll stay with him. Why not? We're giving this guy some screen time.
Well,
And
he took a little time. I think he got a little tired earlier in the race and went into the pits for a rest, and that would explain why he's so far behind Zippy. It's not really all his doing, and the car was a little tired and it needed a break.
Well, certainly that is one way of doing it, especially if you're an older gentleman like Richard, and if you're not going in the pits for a bit of a break, bit of a nap, maybe you're having a little bit of refreshment, ladies and gentlemen. We'll leave it at that. But you can see here, Rob Wright going around the final turn. We had a little bit of a misfortune today in today's race, but certainly, you know what? He's managed to bring it across the line in P8.
Yeah, that's a nice looking Target, and I'll call it the Target Shazam car there. I don't know what else to call that. Nice livery on there, Rob, and I'm glad to see you finish that race there.
Well, as we have a look at our results for the final round this evening, ladies and gentlemen, Ian Pagadala absolutely snaking that win at the end, able to pull away a 3-second gap to championship leader Charles Adrien Boucher with George Griffiths there in third. Ethan Orr took fourth, definitely getting caught up in that incident, maybe causing it a little bit there with Xavier Martin in fifth, Dennis Parkhouse in sixth, Richard Zelaya in seventh, with Rob Wright, who just saw a moment ago, in eighth. Michael Lenners took ninth, and Fortulo, definitely the most unlucky driver in this series, certainly for the last two events there, in 10th. Chris Marion took 11th, for Eugene Cartini and Chuck Cavallo not taken to the grid for the final round.
Yeah, it's Zippy, that's our third week or third race night of covering these F1200s. I gotta say, this has been fabulous racing. I mean, close, wheel to wheel, from the first lap to the last lap. These guys are putting on a show. I almost regret broadcasting. I want to be out there driving, Zippy.
I very much feel the same. I do have a feeling that I could, in a Formula V, I'm quite competitive. I don't know if I'd be able to get podiums with these guys, but I could certainly make them work for it. But I am going to try and round up a couple of these guys for interviews. If you guys are listening, by all means, please, this is the subtle hint. Get your ass in the booth, politely put. And I do believe I've just heard from Paul. Politely put, I'm going to put that he's put, well, no, he's phrased it politely. I'm going to pass, mate. Definitely going to say something I'll regret. Okay, that's fair enough. He definitely,
well,
our sympathies to you, sir.
Yeah, Thor, you've had a tough night. You had a really tough week last time out. You obviously had the pace, and we're sad to see how it ended up for you tonight. But we appreciate you coming out each week and putting on a show for us. That was some fabulous racing tonight, Thor.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have managed to catch up with the P3 finisher of George Griffiths. Richard, I understand you've been able to catch up with this gentleman.
Hey, George, congratulations on the performance tonight. How are you happy, or how'd it go for you?
Yeah, I am very happy with that. I unfortunately missed the last round at Summit Point. In the first round, I had a few incidents, so it was really fun to be able to race against the other guys and get some good, clean racing in, and a good finish overall.
Yeah, we saw you do the nice little 360 to finish, and we loved it. I mean, that's you can tell somebody's happy when they're doing 360s going across the finish line. We noticed a little bit of what we would call, what Zippy and I perceive to be a little team driving. Was that going on tonight?
Yes, it for sure was. Yeah, Charles and I are running under the same team, and he's pretty sure he's leading the championship at the moment. So I thought I'd do in my best interest to kind of preserve that position of him and keep Thor and everyone else behind as much as possible.
Yeah, that was I noticed going up out of the kink and leading up to the corkscrew, you pull out left a couple of times and just hold the position, just not leave any room for anybody else to get in there, and that was some really good defensive team driving on your part there. Just like to congratulate you. You know, that third place, second place, and a fourth place, that's a solid night, George, and congratulations. We're glad you made it back for week 3. Are you going to be able to make it for the finale at Motorsport?
Yeah, I definitely will be, and thank you for the congratulations. Yeah, I definitely will be back at Motorsport.
Awesome. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
I'd like to thank definitely my teammate Charles. That was we put in some good practice, and then also a friend of mine, Xavier Martin, who was also running the race. We were all doing some practice that definitely helped for this race.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again, George, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was George Griffiths, and I did for a brief second say I did see Ian Pagadala in the interview waiting area, and then they disappeared. So Ian, politely put, get back here. We do want to talk to you. Certainly, you've just won a race. That's a good reason to talk to us. We don't bite. Well, Richard doesn't. I'm a little hungry right now, but certainly we'll give it a few minutes for these guys to get back. And here we go. We've got, ladies and gentlemen, your championship leader right now, at least going into this race, and certainly had a very successful night, Charles Etienne Boucher. As they've just disappeared. Get back here.
Canadian thing. Oh,
Charles, we're trying to interview you, buddy. Stay here.
oh, sorry. I thought it was in the other Discord. My fault.
Well, Charles, I gotta say, it's been an absolutely fantastic evening for you so far. Definitely not the result you were looking for at the close, but tell us a little bit about how you guys have been working as a team, yourself and George, absolutely just closing out the field at this point.
Yeah. Well, going into this race, I just wanted good points, because yeah, I could have gotten a sixth win, but if I had gotten taken out even more than I got, I would have been a worse result. So P2, I'm happy with that. Could have been P1, but stuff happens on track that is out of your control. But yeah, for the race, I can't thank enough George for this barricade that we were doing. We were just going side by side to control all the lanes that were available. Well, most, because there's always a third lane if you got the balls to go for it. But no, yeah, I'm really happy to be working with George. He's an awesome teammate. Sort of like Verstappen and Sergio Perez mix. That's what I like.
Well, certainly it's good to see that you guys are indeed working together. And certainly I wonder as well, during the close of that race, I seen you take the position over from George now. Are you trying at this point to secure the win for the championship and then going to basically try and get George there onto P2?
Basically, yeah, that's how I'm thinking of going into the last round. I'll just have to look into our the points and stuff. And if I finish in P4, let's say next race, the last two races, I can basically do Sergio Perez for George for his P2, but we'll see. That's definitely a possibility.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you see there, currently the championship leader as far as at least coming into this evening, and certainly with 2 wins and a second, I can believe he's still going to be very much on that top step. Thank you very much, and congratulations again there to Charles Etienne Boucher, who is also, ladies and gentlemen, we're hearing in the chat, a real-life stock car driver as well out in Quebec.
Yeah. Doing some NASCAR Sportsman series over at the Valley Junction. It's in Quebec, it's fun, different from these cars, but
well, definitely a little bit more bodywork on one of the NASCAR Sportsmans. But Charles, we're going to leave you to it for now. Congratulations again, and we look forward to seeing you in the final round about a month away from now.
Cheers, boys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Charles Etienne Boucher. And Richard, I do believe you've been able to catch up with our race winner for the final event of the evening, Ian Pagadala.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Aryan, congratulations on finally securing that victory. That was a hard battle in that third race. Congratulations.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to be your own teammate out here, but it was definitely a fun race. So I hope you guys enjoyed it too.
Oh, we certainly did. And it's always nice. You come with your own cheering section in the broadcast, cheering you on. How was it? Rumor has it that your spotter decided to sleep was more important than helping you out tonight. Did that make a difference for you?
It's always a pleasure having Ryan there for sure. Like, we did have a background in karting, obviously, as you might have known. But I'm glad we're both able to come up through the field, like just through the ladder of racing together. So.
Well, it's always fun. It's always fun having a buddy to share the experience with, and whether it's real life racing or sim racing or what other activity. Congratulations, you've had a good night. That's going to certainly help you in the points with Stuart Ross not here tonight, so you were sitting in fourth, so I'd expect you to move up to third, and who knows what happens next. Are you going to be able to make it out to Motorsport?
Oh yeah, that's the track I've been waiting for most, because if you thought this was a drafting race, Motorsport's going to be a completely different level. You're not going to know who's going to win that. But definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be a great battle. The Motorsport, I actually raced Wednesday night in Radicals, and I raced earlier this season in
Awesome.
in one of the F1600. So you guys are going to have a great finale with 3 races. We look forward to seeing you compete hard again, and hopefully have some good luck again, and some close battles. Congratulations. Is there anybody you'd like to thank for tonight?
For sure, it's gonna be my parents, obviously. Just letting them get me up to this level in terms of racing. It's not hard where we come from, or it's like pretty hard actually. But definitely them. My sister, she's like one of my biggest supporters. And yeah, honestly, it's just them.
Awesome, y'all, family and friends. It's always great to share experience with them, and we congratulate you and thanks for joining us tonight, Aryan.
Oh, and also another mention. I just want to say shout out to Eugene because he's the one that put this event together, and I'm gonna be racing with him in F1200 next season. So definitely looking forward to that.
Oh man, we look forward to that too. Yeah, Eugene is. We give him kudos wherever we can, because without him, none of this would be going on tonight. So thanks again, Eugene, and thanks, Aryan. We'll see you at Motorsport.
Yep, see you guys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Aryan Pagadala. Definitely a very good night for him. It sounds like they're getting involved in the real racing world, which is absolutely fantastic to hear, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly the news, certainly, that we were very proud to hear, certainly. But we're going to start to bring this to a close, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure here for us here at Pit Road Productions for the Canadian F1200 eSports Championship. My name, again, has been Daniel Zippy Salmon. I guess it always will be. And joining me in the booth today was Richard Swindells on the commentary. An absolute belter of an event tonight. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be seeing you actually tomorrow morning for the Almeida Academy. They're going to be taken into the BMW M2 at Summit Point Raceway. That, I believe, is at 11:15 Eastern, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, that's all from me. I believe that's all from Richard.
Yeah, just a reminder, March 28th, we'll be back here again, racing at Motorsport for the finale of this championship, Zippy.
Absolutely, and he's 100% right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for this one month's time, but if not, you can see you'll see me back. Actually, no, you're going to see Rob Campbell back and Reese Gardner back tomorrow for the Almeida Academy. I may linger for a little bit, and thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.